What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Moving to Florida show. It's been a little while, so we're a little rusty, but I'm your host, Judson, joined by Mohit and Yahya. What's up, gentlemen?
Man? What's going on?
What is up, man? I'm excited to be here today, guys.
Yeah, excited to see you guys and get back to recording. I did not get the black hat memo, but that's okay. That's okay.
I think this is the second or third time you missed it, man. We gotta get him one of these hats.
I'll get you a Nike hat. Don't worry, I got you a black Nike hat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Moving to Florida show. It's been way too long. I think we're at least 2 months past recording. We've had a lot of things come up over the last few months, busy real estate schedules, life events, all of that. But that's not what you're here for. You were here to learn about moving to Florida. And did we say we're going to jump right into it? Is that the plan, guys?
We do want to apologize. We've been gone for a little while. Everybody has been busy. Just like Judson said, we've been having life issues. You've been traveling a little bit too. I know Yahya moved from one state to another and then back to the same state he was in before.
Well, I think that makes it perfect for this episode. It's moving out of Florida to come back to Florida in the Moving to Florida show. So this is awesome.
Well, look, hey, what a great segue. I remember that you were away, but I didn't really know what the story was. So, what's the deal, man? Why'd you leave Florida?
Man, so the thing was, it's I had to move to Missouri because we had a newborn. And it's always nice to have in-laws. Grandparents are great with babies, they take care of them. And I was looking to buy a home myself in Florida for us. And as you guys know, last year, the market was really crazy for everybody. And instead of, being here looking to rent a place and wasting money being a lender, it was just like, didn't make sense. So we moved over there, lived there for a couple of months and literally bought a home online, got everything settled, moved back to Florida. And the whole process was pretty interesting because, we do this for other people. And when you do it for yourself and it works out amazing, it kind of redefines the purpose that, okay, what we're doing matters. We're making people's life easy because if I can do this myself and I can make it easy on me being in a different state, then why can't it be easier for people? So it's, and honestly, I got to tell you guys one thing. Between Florida and nothing bad against Missouri, guys. It's a great state. Every state is great. But Florida, you come back here, it's a different energy. People are different. Food is different. It's just awesome. So I'm really happy to be back here and talk about some amazing moving to Florida updates.
I just want to piggyback what you said. I had family from Toronto here. And, Canadians are supposed to be like the nicest people, most polite people. And well, that's just the stigma that they have over there. I won't say a stigma. I guess that's how they're represented up there. But they came down here and they said, "Man, these Floridians are super nice." I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, "Yeah, everybody's been super kind and super nice. Like random people are saying hi to you when you're walking from one area to another, or whatever the case might be. It's like people are super polite. The waiting staff, the servers, everything has been fantastic here." I was like, well, we are a tourist, destination. So they've been going to the tourist spots. So they're going to be super nice to you because they want that big tip from you.
But you know what? So Mohit, I'll add to that, if I may here, because I think you said something really cool here. And it's a big shout out to the professional community here, because like I said, I bought a home online. And
which we're kind of upset over that you bought a home online and not use one of us to help you with that search.
Right. Well, you guys do know that I do have a license that I don't use to sell real estate, but it saved me a little bit of money in commissions. I'm just saying, man.
I see.
But
fair point.
Yeah,
but the interesting, I think I did. Wow, man, Mo's gonna be going on that for the next year. But no, but seriously though, I will say this, that our community here in business is amazing because the listing agent on the other side was very accommodating, knowing that I'm buying a home from a distance. She went above and beyond for me and my wife came down here. She came and opened the door for her at the inspection. She was here on the day of closing. It was very nice to see that, people here in Florida, like I said, in business are very, very much dedicated to serving the community in every way. And my personal experience being so great, especially I never knew her, didn't work with her before. First time working with her, great experience. So Florida definitely is, I think, getting popularity, not just because of tourist attractions and other things and all the beauty it has, but I think it's the environment. It's very laid back. People are really friendly, and it's honestly a great environment to live in.
There you go. There you go. So that's why you need to move to Florida, folks.
There we go.
All right, let's jump right in.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, we got some updates to the Hometown Heroes program, and we've talked about the Hometown Heroes program before, a down payment assistance, closing cost assistance program to help first responders, but apparently there are some changes coming to this program. So what's happening? What's going on with it?
So, man, I'm glad you brought that up. It's an awesome, awesome thing. And one thing I will tell you guys is Florida Hometown Heroes program so far, up to last week, has funded about $2 billion worth of loans.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And I'm proud of that because we were able to use this money. And as you guys know previously, before the new enhancements, it was only open to certain occupations and it was first responders. So being able to fund that much in loan amounts really means that we did serve our community. And now what's more exciting is the occupational requirements will no longer apply from the 3rd of July. Now, what this means to...
Go ahead. I was going to ask you, what does that mean?
So what that means to everybody, guys, is that as long as you are working for a Florida-based company and you work at least 35 hours a week, and what I mean by a Florida-based company, it has to have a brick and mortar location in Florida, or it could be a registered company in Florida, and you work for that, you qualify for this program.
So the company doesn't have to have a headquarters here. They just have to have a location here.
Yeah. So to give you a quick example, let's say you work for Apple. Now they're based out of California, but if they have an Apple store here and you work for that particular store, you can take advantage of the program.
Interesting.
And there's a couple of other cool things. So in the past, it was limited to a maximum of 5% and $25,000. They upped that by $35,000, remaining 5% max, whichever is lower, obviously. But that's not it. They actually made another really cool change, which I really love. So now there's a minimum amount you qualify for.
Oh.
So, there was a lot of homes in certain areas that were lower priced. And when you do 5% max or loan amount, you were getting less than $10,000. And that was not enough funding for a lot of people to take advantage of. So the minimum amount you can get is $10,000. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
So is that even if, say, you're purchasing a $150,000 condo, you can still get the $10,000?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So the minimum overrides the maximum of 5%.
Exactly. So it's really nice in that case.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love how they did it. And they replenished the funds with another $100 million. So it's really nice to see this because in this industry, we work to serve our communities, right? We promote homeownership. We want to help people buy homes, be the generation that builds equity, that gets away from renting and has a much better life in the long run and builds equity, wealth, all that cool stuff. Now, with this, the things that remain the same, it is still a 30-year non-amortizing loan. So it has 0%. You're not going to pay any interest on it. So it's not free money, but you're getting this money at a very, very cheap rate. And if you don't refinance, don't sell, don't turn it into anything else, you can have it as a second mortgage for 30 years, man.
Oh, wow.
And, on average, as I think discussed this in one of our recent episodes, that if you were to appreciate, let's say by 5%, in 14 years, your investment would double. So, just think about that for a moment. It's nothing, to even pay this back in 10, 15, 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
What are if you want to just go over? I know we've gone over the minimum requirements in the past. So, what are the minimum requirements, just as a refresher?
Very good question, man. So, one thing I always like to bring to attention is whenever we are discussing DPAs or down payment assistance programs, there are minimum credit scores that are required, obviously. And in this one, it's 640. So, if you're below 640, unfortunately, it's not going to work. But it does not mean that you can't get it. So all you got to do is work a little bit, make some changes, and we can of course help with that. But that way you can qualify for it. And officially this program is going to be launched on the 1st of July, but I think it's a weekend. So 3rd of July is probably going to be a Monday, I think, is when it's officially going to go into reservations right before the 4th of July. So
right before holiday, of course.
But it's awesome though, man. Like I'm really proud of this. I think it's such a cool thing, especially in today's market. Because one insight I will share with our audience here is, as a lender, we review a lot of credit applications every day. And one thing I'm seeing is A lot of people are making very good money. They have good jobs. They have very good credit. They're taking care of it. But the biggest caveat that holds most people back is the money, the cash, right? For down payment and closing costs. And
cash to close.
Exactly. Yeah. And even in some circumstances, you can get a little bit of credit from the seller. In some instances, you can, negotiate paying a little higher and getting some money back, but you still need a little bit more money down. And with this, it solves that problem. So it really gives us a benefit to help people more. So I'm very excited about this.
Awesome. What other minimum requirements? I know that you said a credit minimum is 640. What other requirements?
So the only other thing I would say, but I think this is DTI. So yeah, I mean, that's something I think as listeners, you won't need to be too worried about this because you will have to have a lender actually calculate this for you. But it used to be at 45 before, and they moved it up to 50, and it's still at 50. And just to give you an idea, it's very, very high. That means about 50%,
right,
of your credit obligations, including your mortgage, of your monthly gross income. So that's pretty high. That's substantial. So
and to clarify there, in moving it from 45 to 50, they actually made it a little more accessible. Made it a little easier to qualify.
Okay, good.
Interesting.
Oh, that's really good.
Well, that's okay. Look, here's what I'd like to do, because I know our listeners are kind of figuring out what this is, and we're familiar with a lot of these terms and work through these things every day. But let's kind of break it down with an example. I think that would be easier, right? And we can keep it kind of simple, round numbers. But let's use a purchase price of $400,000. I think that's realistic, right? You're going to move to Florida. You're going to buy a nice home. You're paying around $400,000 for that minimum. At least. So let's use that number. Somebody that's buying a home for $400,000 and qualifies for this program is going to have access to up to 5% of the loan amount. Is it loan amount still, or is it purchase price?
It's the loan amount.
All right. So let's say it's a 420 purchase. They're putting $400,000 down. I don't think those numbers work exactly, but just for simplicity, $400,000 loan amount. So they're going to qualify for $20,000 to help cover their down payment and or closing costs. Is that correct?
Exactly. So you're going to take a maximum 5%. And typically that's what happens. We automatically take 5%. So it's not going to be that I'm going to choose to do 3% or whatever. And if you're choosing to, let's say, do an FHA loan and you're putting 3.5% down, the balance 1.5 will go to your closing costs.
Would it be better to,
awesome.
Would it be better to take it as a conventional loan versus a FHA? I know some people might qualify for a FHA because the requirements are a little bit more less stringent than conventional. But on an FHA, you're eventually going to refinance within the next 3 to 4 or 5 years because you don't want to pay that PMI. So when that time comes up, that means that 30 grand or 20 grand is due, correct?
Yes, if you're refinancing, yeah, absolutely. But the funny thing about this is, man, that I love this question because recently with the changes in the FHA guidelines, the monthly insurance premium has dropped by 40% from what it used to be.
I see.
And what that has done is that it's made the loan cheaper overall. However, the one thing I did actually want to mention earlier, I'm going to mention now, is that the interest rates are actually subsidized for Homes Down Heroes. So they're not market rates. They're actually better than market rates.
Okay.
And it's not something that anybody has any control over. It's, Florida Housing basically subsidizes it. And the participating lenders have access to it. And anybody can see it. You can just go to ehousingplus.com. ehousingplus.com is the website. And you can access all the details of all these programs. Everything is there. So it's not a secret. It's not hidden from anybody. And they update their rates every day. So if you were to pick between the two, the only other thing I would say is that income limits actually have also gone up. So before, if you made X amount of dollars, you wouldn't qualify for this program. They upped it a little bit, obviously. Right. So now I think Orange County is capped at $130,000. But if you were going to, let's say, go conventional versus FHA, to use a fun example here, you would have to put minimum 5% down on a conventional, because if you don't have the less than 80% area median income, you can't put 3%, right? So if you needed a little bit of help in closing costs and you didn't have that, then going FHA, putting 3.5 and getting the 1.5 extra towards that and adding a little of your own funds would be beneficial. And of course, in 3 to 4 or 5 years, if you refinanced it, you can just do a rate and term refinance, and the equity you can use to pay off the second mortgage that you have and get better terms.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Any other requirements that we need to address?
Yeah, so you have to be a first-time home buyer. I know it's people ask this, can I use this for investment? I'm like,
No.
no, it's to incentivize home ownership. So you can't do this where you buy it and you rent, live in it for a year and you rent it. You cannot use that hack because this is not meant for that. It's meant for people who are actually first-time home buyers and need the assistance. So no investors, no, fun hacks and stuff going on here. It really is truly for people who really need the help.
Yeah. So, like you going back to what you said about down payment assistance. Usually down payment assistance, when I think of that, I think, oh man, my client's probably going to get a higher interest rate. But with the state, subsidizing the interest rates and bringing them down or even better than the market rate, that's really, really exciting. And that's really good to know.
And one thing I will tell you is, and I'm probably going to get a little hate from lenders about this, but a lot of lenders do not like to do DPAs because what happens is we have to give up a certain part of our commission to help with the subsidization. And I love that because, you can sit on a stage all day and say, hey, I'm here to help the community. But if you have no skin in the game, man, you're just trying to keep this a clean podcast. You're just making stuff up.
Right.
I had to rephrase my words there,
right.
But I'm proud of that because I'm like, look, if I have to give up a certain amount of my commission, but I'm going to put somebody in a home, that's worth more to me because I made a family achieve home ownership.
Right.
And look,
referrals.
Money at the end of the day is exactly. It's not even that, man. It's not all about the money. We realtors, lenders, we all have a lot of strict trainings. We have a code of ethics we follow. And we make, these promises that, we're going to help the community. We're going to make it a better place. And this is the perfect chance to do that. So not everybody participates in it. So if you are listening to this episode and you are thinking of a Hometown Hero program and you think you want to qualify for it, talk to anybody. You can call me, you can call us, you can reach out to, the team here and find out. And one thing I will say, guys, is that this program was actually not put into effect that long ago, right? Our last episode was less than a year ago. So,
right. Yeah.
So if we take inventory, $2 billion in, let's say, less than a year, that money went fast.
Yeah.
So
and that helped with the purchase of $2 billion of real estate. Is that right?
Exactly.
The down payment assistance did. Yeah. Not that $2 billion were lent.
Exactly. So if you think about this, we don't know how much more money they're going to replenish. I don't know that. But if it were to run out, it were to run out, But my advice to anybody listening is, if you know this program is going into effect on the 3rd of July, I would start working on it today.
Yeah.
Just so you have an idea. And look, you don't have to even move forward today or do anything. But if you can have a conversation with somebody and just find out if you qualify for it, get ready for it, at least get an information and ready, get ready for it, talk to a realtor, see if that area you're looking for qualifies, has the homes and everything is good, you may be able to take advantage of this when it rolls out.
Yep, for sure. So somebody, thinking about our audience, people that are moving to Florida, they need a job in Florida, which most people are, right? Maybe they're relocating, they've already got a job lined up, something like that. But just making sure that we understand that's really going to be the main requirement is you have to have employment in Florida.
Yes, exactly.
So if you're moving here because your company that's based somewhere else allows you to work from home, then you're not going to qualify.
Then you're not going to qualify.
Now, here's I don't know if you can answer this. I'm not sure if there's any kind of stipulation on this one, but let's say I do qualify for it and my company's one and only brick and mortar in Florida closes in about 3 years after I purchase the home. Does that go into effect? Be like, hey, you don't have a brick and mortar anymore.
Oh, you gotta pay this back.
I'm calling for it right now.
And that's a very good question. So, the thing is, we look at current, of course, we can't predict what's going to happen in the future.
None of us can. Yeah.
I mean, and to put that into perspective, look, you can have a job today. We could do all the research we want, but if in 3 months you get, fired from your job, and even though everything was good, I have no control over that. So I'm not going to come back and ask you. That's something we couldn't account for. Right. So no, it's not going to affect you in that sense. But of course, if you tell us that information that you're planning to close this company that you own in the next 3 months and it's a Florida-based company, then you're giving me information that I have to now report and use. And in that instance, I can't use that program because you've explicitly told me. Ethically, I can't. But I mean, that's just common sense at that point, right? But I would say, apart from that, one really cool thing I would still say is the eligible properties. You still have your attached, detached single units, 2 to 4 units, condos, manufactured homes have to be at 1994 and newer. And the debt to income ratios for manufactured homes are slightly lower.
Okay.
So they're about 45 instead of 50. But since we talked about house hacking and investment and all that, if you are still looking to do something in that nature, then you can go and buy a 2 to 4 unit property and use Hometown Heroes for that. But you cannot.
You came back to it because I was getting ready to ask.
I know. I knew it. I saw the look on your face. I'm like, he's going to come back at it. But you see, there is ways around it, but it's not an exclusive investor product. But it doesn't mean you can't use it to build a better investment in the long run.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Makes
okay.
sense.
So on a multifamily unit like that, is it still 5% of purchase?
If you do FHA, you could do 3.5. On Fannie, I think you can't, because when you do Fannie, you have to do conventional loan.
Yeah.
You have to do 15%
now.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That was a recent change. As recently as I think a year ago, you could buy a 4-unit, 5% down conventional, and that has definitely changed over the last year.
Yep. And one more thing they did is the refinance. You could have refinanced in 6 months, but now you have to wait a year. And this is a pretty big deal, because if anybody knows the community Bigger Pockets, they all talk about the Burr method: buy, a rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat exactly. They preach this method and they say you can do it every 6 months and keep on going. But now you have to wait a year. So it delays that a little. You can still do it, of course, but take a little more time.
All right.
Got it. Well, look, great information. Look, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get qualified for this program, you need to reach out to Yahya if you're not already working with a lender. He's licensed across Florida, so he can do these loans no matter what part of Florida you're looking at. I'm going to let him give his contact now. Please give him a phone number where they can call you or text you. Is that okay?
Absolutely, man. I'd love that. So the phone number you can reach me directly at is 732-955-1302. I'll say it again, 732-955-1302. You can just send me a text and say Hometown Heroes and add moving to the Florida show, so that way we can track it and make sure you come in from here. And yes, absolutely. Any questions you want to know, anything you have in mind, please let us know. We're very happy to help.
We'll also have his info on the show notes as well. So if you're,
perfect.
Sounds good. Anything else you want to add, Judson?
That's it, man. I'm glad to be back recording with you guys. Let's plan to hit record again soon and get more content pushed out for our listeners who are planning on moving to Florida.
We want to hear from you. You can reach us on our Moving to Florida show hotline by dropping a voicemail or texting us to 407-900-5859, or drop us a DM on Facebook or Instagram at Moving to Florida Show. And for Twitter, our handle is at Moving to FL Show. If you'd like to connect with us, if you have any questions, or if you need a realtor in Florida, you can reach us at movingtofloridashow@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to the show if you like our content, so that it automatically download to your device and get you one step closer to moving to Florida.